Today I am setting the table for fall, talking about diet and weight management, along with my skincare, makeup routine, and favorite beauty products. That has been requested many times over the years, so even though it's a little bit out of my comfort zone, we will talk about all of that, and we'll even have some time in the kitchen making some really delicious fall-inspired treats. We just hosted a dinner with several other couples, which was so fun, and I found this pretty tablecloth to use on Amazon, which I think I'm going to really like using year-round. But it needs washing now, and so because it's a linen and polyester blend, it washes beautifully. It comes in several other patterns, and I love the thickness and sort of heft of it because it drapes really nicely. I'll link it down in the description box along with everything else from today's video to make it easier for you to find anything that you might be looking for. Now, using some black gingham linens and seagrass placemats, I'm going to style our table for this season. Patrick and I recently had a date night at a restaurant that had pumpkin pecan bread pudding on the menu. That sounded so good to me, and immediately I thought about making my pecan French toast recipe into a pumpkin pecan French toast, sort of a breakfast version of that really yummy sounding dessert. First, I need to make some bread, and for this recipe, I really want a soft, buttery loaf, so I have the perfect one in mind that could be easily made in the bread machine. I will have the full recipe down in the description box for you so that you can copy, paste, and print if you like. More and more, I'm using my digital scale for measuring ingredients, especially when making bread. It's just so easy to measure everything right into the bread pan and really accurate too. It almost even feels sort of lazy because I don't need to use all of the measuring cups and measuring spoons, so there's less to clean up afterwards. While I'm making the bread, I will tell you my strategy for maintaining a healthy weight after menopause. I struggle with it too, and it's been a real challenge, but I have found that there are a few things that make it just a little easier. For me, restricting anything at all, especially when it comes to food, doesn't work. In fact, it almost always backfires. So I never deny myself anything. And as you see from the foods that I make here on my channel, I can really indulge. I love food. And instead, I control the portion size. I do that in a couple of ways. First, I give myself a small portion and then I do not go back for a second helping. Almost always I find that when I eat really slowly and experience all the flavors, I am very satisfied with a small portion. I apply this when eating out by dividing what's on my plate in half before I start. I always take home the other half to enjoy for lunch the next day, so I really feel like I'm savoring the enjoyment even more. The second way I use portion control is to portion out any snacks that I eat during the day. I do try to avoid snacking as much as possible. I think that's a great way to maintain your weight. But when I do need a little something, I will first try to fulfill that craving with something like fruit. Or if I just crave something salty, I will give myself a small bowl of whatever it is. So nuts, crackers, chips. That way I don't find myself mindlessly eating through half the bag. I also try to apply this idea of portion control to the 3 meals that I'm eating each day. And what I mean by that is, if I am having one larger or more indulgent meal, I like to balance that with 2 smaller or lighter meals. For example, often our evening meal is the larger one because that's when all 3 of us are eating together and I have more time during the day to prepare it. So I will eat something like yogurt with granola and fruit for breakfast, and a spinach salad with hard-boiled eggs and a little cheese for lunch. One of the things that both Patrick and I, and Peyton too as a matter of fact, really love for a light lunch or dinner is a small bowl of cottage cheese with grapes on top. It is high in protein, so it's really satisfying, and we love this combination so much that it never even feels like we are missing out on anything. Of course, eating lots of fresh produce is important for both health and weight maintenance. I try to load up on that while avoiding processed foods, although I do think that an occasional indulgence is okay because, as I said before, I don't deny myself anything. Something that I have discovered though is that I don't feel so good when I'm allowing too much of the processed stuff into my diet. So I naturally resist or restrict these things more than I used to because I feel so much better now and I crave the good things more. To me, it's really not complicated, and I am definitely not telling you anything that you haven't heard before, but I do know that changing old habits is hard, and if you need to make changes, there will be an adjustment period, which I know isn't easy. I would say just start with smaller portions and then swap in a few more healthy choices like fresh fruits and vegetables while reducing the not so good things. And in time, you will notice that your body feels better and you might find it's easier to control your weight. One last thing, and I know it's probably controversial. I have heard a lot of advice against doing this, but I weigh myself every morning. For me, it just really keeps me on track. I can start the day knowing how I might need to adjust my plan for the day, and things never get too far. So any adjustment will be really easy and very small and not hard to achieve. You can let me know if all of that resonates with you or not. And if you have some advice to share with us, I would really love to hear it. I know everyone else would too. So be sure to leave a comment. Because our son needs to eat gluten-free, I will increase the amount for this recipe in order to make about 1.5 recipes. And I'm going to use the gluten-free bread for his and the loaf I just made for Patrick and I. And again, I will have the full regular recipe for this pumpkin pecan French toast in the description box. The bread turned out great and is going to be perfect for this recipe. I'm making some nice thick slices and then I'll arrange them in the bottom of a buttered baking dish. I only need half of the bread for this recipe, so I'm storing the rest in this reusable bread bag. I have been loving this lately. It's washable and it does a really good job of keeping our bread fresh for many days on the counter, and it's also freezer safe. One quick adjustment, and then I will start mixing up the other ingredients. By the way, I always prepare everything for this recipe the night before and then bake it the next morning so that the bread will have plenty of time to soak up all of the custard that we will be pouring over the top. This recipe was originally from a Vermont bed and breakfast that we stayed in many years ago when our boys were quite small. It is called Vermont Pecan French Toast, and it's been a family favorite. I shared it here before, but it's been quite a while, and I'm not changing very much. I'm just adding some pumpkin puree, and instead of the cinnamon and nutmeg that the original recipe called for, I am putting in apple pie spice, and that's just because I like that better than pumpkin pie spice, but you could use pumpkin pie spice if that's what you have on hand. I started out with a half a cup of pumpkin puree, and then I decided to add another half cup for a total of 1 full cup, and I'm glad that I did. It was perfect, and I like that we are getting even more nutrition from the pumpkin in there. At this point, I covered both dishes and put them in the refrigerator overnight. While the oven was heating to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, I mixed up the topping by combining melted butter, brown sugar, chopped pecans, and maple syrup. Then I spread the topping over the bread and baked it uncovered for 1 hour. out exactly as I hoped and definitely fulfilled my craving for that dessert I saw. And it was a huge hit. In fact, it might be the way that I will be making it from now on. Now we'll shift gears to skincare and makeup, starting with sunscreen, which I apply every day, rain or shine. This is my best piece of skincare advice. I put it on immediately after I shower and let it soak in while I get dressed. I love to use a mineral foundation like this one from Laura Geller. It's their Baked Balance and Bright, and it's in the color Fair. I also really like the one from Toups & Co. Organics. They have a mineral foundation that I really love and I think matches my skin tone a little bit better. So I'll probably go back to using that one, and I also get that in the color Light. I like to use makeup with as clean ingredients as possible, and I also like my foundation to be toward the lighter side, so in other words, not full coverage. In fact, I am really going for a fresh, no makeup look, unless it's a special occasion. The eyeshadows that I use are from Toups & Co. Organics, and I really love these colors, and I find that I can create all kinds of looks with these. And so the first one is called Matte Flesh, the middle one is Iced Mocha, and the one on the right is Matte Bark. I use the lighter one, the Matte Flesh, to put all over my eyelid from top to bottom. It's sort of a foundation. And then I go in with the one on the right, which is called Matte Bark, and sort of line my eyes with that. I like using a small brush with the eyeshadow to line my eyes so that I'm not pulling or tugging at the delicate skin on my lids. And because I wear glasses, that's really all I do for eyeshadow. If I want more for a special occasion, I'll use a little of that Iced Mocha on the outer half of my lid and blend it really well, but that's it. Next, I'll use the Matte Bark color, the same one I use on my eyelids for my eyebrows. I just apply that and then use a sort of spoolie brush to blend it. And I like defining my eyebrows because I think that they do need to stand out a little bit when I'm wearing glasses. And then I just follow with curling my eyelashes and using a little mascara. Mascara that I've been enjoying lately is by Wander. It's called Mile High Club in Jet Black. And I like this because I think the ingredients are pretty clean, and it goes on and comes off easily, but it doesn't smudge. So this is one that I have really been liking lately, and I just have to laugh. I have never watched myself put on makeup, and so as I said, this is something I'm not super comfortable sharing with you guys, so give me a little bit of grace. And just know too that I am no expert. I am just sharing with you what I do. For blush, one of my favorites for years and years has been this Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush, and I love this color called Blushing Bride. So I would love to try the Toups & Co. blush, but they don't have a color that's quite this pinky, and with my fair skin, I feel like I just really enjoy this little pop of color on my cheeks. So until they come up with something really pinky like this, that's what I'll probably continue to use. And along with that, this is something new that I've been trying. It's by Maybelline in the color Stay Exceptional, and I feel like it's a really nice coordinating lip color for the blush that I enjoy. This one probably doesn't have the most clean ingredients, but again, I am using it because I just really like the color. I also like the way it stains my lips, so I don't really have to reapply my lipstick throughout the day. And the one that I used to love, that I've recommended over and over again, that was a lip balm that sort of changed with your chemistry, it has been discontinued, so I was forced to try something new. There you have it, my no makeup look. And I just want to spend the next few minutes going over a couple of other products that I know have been asked about, such as hair care. I still use the Function of Beauty hair care, just their shampoo and conditioner, really nothing else, because anything else really weighs down my long hair. Also, like I said, I've been trying to do better with clean ingredients, and so I've switched toothpaste. This one has very clean ingredients and it contains a mineral that helps fortify your enamel, so rebuild enamel and make your teeth stronger. To remove my makeup in the evening, I absolutely love this sea buckthorn cleansing oil from Tubes & Co. Organics. It's like a spa treatment every night. I put a little in my hands and then massage it all over my face. It smells amazing. It removes all my makeup and it just leaves my skin glowing. Many of my favorite skincare products and makeup comes from Tubes & Co. And right now is a great time to give them a try because you can get 20% off your order when you use my link down in the description box between November 1st and November 9th. I found that the very best moisturizers for my face are also from Tubes & Co., like the Frankincense Face Balm. I also like using their Sweet Girl Tallow Balm, which you can use all over your body, including your face. Both are made with tallow, which is bioidentical to our body's own natural oils, so it's absorbed by our skin more readily, and it's also more beneficial to our skin than most chemical or even plant-based moisturizers. Tubes & Co. also has a great mineral sunscreen that is tallow-based and can be used on your body and face. I love it, but I don't use it daily on my face just because it doesn't work as well for me under my makeup and does leave a little bit of a whitish cast on my skin, which I'm completely fine with when I'm at the beach, pool, or even while skiing. In an effort to go more clean with my skincare, I've recently switched over to all-natural deodorant. I just started using the ones from Primally Pure. I'm using the vanilla citrus and Patrick's is the charcoal, and so far we both really like it. Primally Pure is a new brand to me, and I just discovered that the company was started by the daughter of some friends of ours. I also ordered some of their lip balms, which are so creamy and moisturizing, and they smell great too. I'm definitely going to be using them from now on. And I ordered their body butter, which is also tallow-based, and I really love so far. I will have a referral link down in the description box, and if you use that, it will give you $10 off your first order that's over $50. Those are the recommendations for the makeup and skincare products that I use and love. I hope that you'll find it helpful. Now, back to the kitchen. I recently learned something new, which was so fun. I use sweetened condensed milk just a little bit to make yogurt, and I was out of it and it was on my grocery list. And then I was watching Farmhouse on Boone. That's a channel that I know many of you watch too. Lisa made it herself, and I found a recipe online, and it's so simple, I can't believe I didn't realize I could make it myself. I can even make it with lactose-free milk. Really, any type of whole milk will work. It's basically just dissolving sugar into the milk and then reducing it slowly over low heat. I will link a recipe down in the description box if you want more details. Stir until the sugar dissolves and then bring it to a slow simmer and don't stir it again until it is reduced by almost half. I then poured it into some small 4-ounce glass jars, which is what I will need for a 2-quart batch of yogurt. And once cool, I put them in the refrigerator where it can be safely stored for up to 6 months. It doesn't come out as thick as the store-bought version, but it worked perfectly in my yogurt recipe, and I think would be great for a lot of other recipes that call for sweetened condensed milk as well. In fact, I have been noticing several recipes for homemade coffee creamer using it, so maybe I will try that too. Pumpkin spice latte sounds really good this time of year. When the weather starts to cool, I am finding myself in the mood for more baking, and I recently tried a new recipe, which I'll link below, for chewy chocolate chip cookies. The first batch I made using King Arthur's gluten-free flour, which can be substituted cup for cup for regular all-purpose non-gluten-free flour. Then I made a gluten-free baking rookie mistake, which is not remembering that the batter for gluten-free should be more sticky than the non-gluten-free version, because that flour just needs a lot more moisture and can easily come out dry. And because the recipe had stressed the need for a very dry batter, I caved and I added some additional flour, so don't do that. I haven't tried the recipe again, just following it very strictly, but because of how they turned out, I'm pretty sure they would be a lot better if I hadn't added the extra flour. It wasn't a total fail though. The cookies just were more cakey than chewy, but Peyton loved them, so I think it's worth trying again, and I do plan to do that. And if you give them a try using the regular recipe, let me know. And the batch that I made using regular all-purpose flour was really good, and I know I will be making those again and again. So as you can see, the cookies really held their form and were definitely a cakey texture and not chewy. I decided to flatten the next batch before baking them to give them a better shape, but of course the texture was the same. And like I said though, Peyton thought they were delicious, so it is still a win. These were the ones made with regular all-purpose flour. As you can see, they look much better and they tasted amazing. So soft and chewy and so good. Definitely worth a try. Thank you so much for watching. I know that today's video was a bit different, but I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up. I always appreciate the time you choose to spend with me here, and I love hearing from you in the comments, so leave me one below and I will see you in the next video. Until then, have a wonderful week.